Mehdi, look at our, first of all, I'm the son of I'm a Gold Star son. I lost my dad in
All
Vietnam.
right, we go.
One of the most despicable,
The victimhood.
I
I'm a
think, wars
victim.
that
A
the United
victim.
States has ever prosecuted. We've killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people over the years. We continue to. Look what we did in Japan to end a war. These are philosophical questions that most Americans would never want to be faced with.
But you're a member of Congress, right?
I'm a member of Congress.
You wanted to be president.
Yes.
So let me ask you the straight-up question.
Let me answer your question.
Please.
I believe, as the President of the United States, his or her obligation should always be the safety and security of Americans first. It does not mean dismissing other humanity. But in the case of hostages, when it comes to this, and we've tried this before, and we've seen carnage. The fact of the matter is, I think we should extract. And by the way, if that means there are civilian deaths as a result, unfortunately, that's, I think, a cost.
Well, the cost implies there's no other choice. We, of course, know that there was another way to get the hostages out.
I have empathy.
No, well, hold on. There's another way to get the hostages out. We got over 100 hostages out in a deal in November. You could have got Benjamin Netanyahu blocking another deal. But just I want to be very specific. In your view, is killing 274 Palestinians, including many children, an acceptable price to pay for the freeing of 4 Israelis?
Like I said, I don't. You want a clear answer, and you want to make want to make this black and white.
Is it an acceptable price to pay?
It's an unacceptable price, but I think it's a price that has to be paid.
All right. Now you see what he said. He said, for the Israel to kill 274 Palestinians to rescue 4 Jews, it's an acceptable price. Now watch him turn the table against him. Watch how he squirms, because he knows that he doesn't value Palestinian lives.
Wow. Okay, so how many Palestinians would it be acceptable to kill in order to get back a single hostage? What's the upper limit? Would 400?
When we start talking about human lives, every single one life
human
is
lives
too many. And let me just, let's
but you just
be
said
human
that 274 is a price that has to be paid.
Because
I'm saying if it was 1,000, would you pay that?
Because in my estimation, if we look at questions like this in a vacuum, of course we're going to come up with different answers than in the context of the entire challenge of the Middle East. Because if we are increasingly seen, the United States of America in particular, as unwilling to sometimes do what's necessary to demonstrate some strength and prevent...
Congressman, you just said a moment ago we have a history of killing thousands of innocent people.
We do. And my father died in a war that was...
I do need to ask the question for the value of Palestinian life.
Yes.
So if you're saying that to get free people from the clutches of horrible captivity, hostages, people possibly being abused in captivity, to free them, you have to pay a price, right? It's a horrible price. Does that ratio work the other way? How many Israelis can Palestinians kill in order to free Palestinian detainees who are currently being tortured in Israeli captivity, some of them being raped to death, according to the New York Times last week? Can they kill 200 Israelis? Hold on, let me finish the question. Can they kill 200 Israelis to free 4 Palestinians who are being tortured in an Israeli prison?
I think it's a question that I'm sure Palestinians are asking the same way as Israelis.
No, you answered it. You answered it for Israel. I would like you to answer it in reverse.
Let me just clarify something you just said. You said Palestinian prisoners are being raped to death by Israeli
this is a report in the New York.
This is true. Remember I told you that Palestinians are being raped?
New York Times last week.
Okay. I don't believe that to be true. Nonetheless, the question.
A 41-year-old detainee said the interrogators made me sit on something like a hot metal stick and it felt like fire. He said another detainee died after they put the electric stick up his anus.
No, it's repulsive.
This is an Israeli dungeon that CNN and New York Times have both reported on.
The chosen people. The chosen people doing this.
From that prison, can you kill lots of innocent people according to the logic of the raid in Gaza?
What I'm trying to say is, if you represent the Palestinian people, you represent the Israeli people, we look at this quite differently. I don't want to
see... I know you do, which is why I'm asking the question, Congressman. I understand that you see it differently. A lot of people watching at home say, why? Why aren't all lives equal?
They should be.
But they're not.
Well, then let's go. Then let's go. Look, what I don't want to do is get into a debate of who suffered worse, whose lives.
By the way, I'm asking about our lives treated equally.
Innocent Palestinian lives matter just as much as innocent Israeli lives.
Answer the question.
Lives as much as Jewish and Christian lives. That's who I am. So, now, with all that said, war is hell, and this is nauseating. And we're trying to get back.
When you tell them why Palestinians are being war is hell, people die in war. But if it's Hamas that kills, these are terrorists. They should be killing anybody. Watch what he says. He can't bring himself to say it's okay.
War is hell, because can't Hamas say the same thing when you accuse them of war crimes? They can say war is hell.
Yes,
Isn't that why we have rules to war? So that we stop it from being hell?
Yes, they can. War is hell. And by the way, let me go back. Let me go back to Netanyahu. I've said to his face, as the ranking member of the Middle East Subcommittee on Foreign Affairs, as a Jewish man, you can imagine that, look, you're a Muslim man, I'm a Jewish man. We represent, to some degree, when we're on public platforms, our people, our diasporas. I've said to Netanyahu's face, in Israel, in Jerusalem, in his office, what I felt, which is the settlement policy is creating dynamics that will only make Israel's security and safety at grave risk. His treatment of Palestinians, when people have nothing to protect, they act in ways that the rest of the free world would consider irrational. So this goes way back. The question is, they're both wrong. Netanyahu is wrong. Hamas is wrong. I don't want to equate the two, but the fact of the matter...
That wasn't my question, but I appreciate you making that point.
I want to make that clear.
Let's talk about Netanyahu briefly in a different context. You said war is hell. I I don't like that statement. I think war has rules. People should follow the rules of war to prevent it from being hell. Right? We built an entire post-war legal architecture for that reason. America led the way.
Well, after we dropped nuclear weapons, after we firebombed Tokyo, I mean,
and then we came up with Geneva Conventions, UN Declaration, etc., Universal Declaration. You have said no one is above the law. You've said repeatedly on Twitter in relation to Donald Trump, and I agree with you. You're right. What I don't understand is why you insist on putting Benjamin Netanyahu, who you don't like, you've said that since the beginning of this interview, why you insist on putting him above international law. You were one of 42 House Democrats who voted with Republicans earlier this month to impose sanctions on the ICC chief prosecutor and other ICC officials after he announced he was...
Since the beginning of this interview, he's been saying, well, I don't like Netanyahu. We don't want him here, but I'm going to join the Congress when he comes to the United States. At the same time, when the International Court of Justice said they're going to put a subpoena to arrest him for war crimes, he is one of 70 Democrats who signed a declaration to sanction the court for trying to arrest a war criminal. These people talk out of their ass. Right out of their ass. They talk right out of their ass. Excuse my language. They are hypocrite. America, you are being fooled. The American people need to unite and get rid of these fucking people. Excuse me. Oh, I lost my... Here's my revenue. The people need to stop. We got to get together, man. Poor whites, poor blacks, poor Arabs, poor Midwestern. We got to get together and get rid of these corrupt politicians. You think the Republican Party is serving white America, or the Democrat is serving the blacks and the white and the poor whites? They're both in it for the money. It's all about gimmicks and getting rich. All my life, they've been telling us, oh, this election is an essential part and it's very important. We got to vote. Not voting. Not going to vote for Biden or Trump. Going to stay right home and let it help. Let me see it self-destruct. I want to see if America is going to get destructive if Trump is elected. I want to see these lies.
Seeking an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu. You are a Democrat, a liberal, a supporter of the rule of law, and you're going after the International Criminal Court to protect Benjamin Netanyahu.
They went beyond their purview, Mehdi, and they did not afford, they didn't even follow their own process in this case. Look, I have some misgivings about the ICC. This was very distinct. By the way, he's not above the law. And in fact, I think everything you just shared, whether it is the prisoner who was just tortured, according to this report, war crimes by Hamas, war crimes by Israel. Yes, they should be litigated. It should be transparent. It should be public. I think the way the ICC went about it was absolutely incorrect.
Why?
But do I believe, because they didn't follow their own standards, and they were beyond their purview. Of course, Israel and the U.S. not party to the ICC.
Nor is Russia.
And I think, by the way...
nor is... First of all, Palestine is party to the ICC, as you know. And Russia isn't, and we all supported the ICC arrest warrants against Putin. Biden was happy with it, said it was good.
Like I just said, it's beyond their purview. And secondly...
Why is Putin not beyond their purview, but Netanyahu is?
Well, I think the whole methodology, frankly, of the ICC right now...
I get that, but we didn't have... But you didn't vote for sanctions on the ICC when they went after Putin, only after Netanyahu.
I understand. In this case, I do not believe that the way they did not afford Israel even the right to respond. Yeah, I believe in due process. Let me put it that way. I believe in due process. The way they pursued this did not afford him that. But look, I'm not a defender of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Wait, you voted for a bill? Yeah. Okay, so this bill you voted for, most Democrats,
yes,
didn't
you
vote
are.
for this bill.
You're
it's so broad. Even if we were to agree with you that they're outside their purview, and they would say they're not, it didn't just go after ICC officials, but also, quote, the immediate family members of ICC officials. That is mob-like behavior, is it not, to go after family members?
And by the way, 95% of what we vote on in Congress has elements that we find distasteful.
But you voted for
that's
it.
of course, that's our job
and
in
you
Congress.
Stand by
we have a choice. I stand by that vote, of course.
So you stand. Hold on. You
but,
stand by putting sanctions on ICC Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan's 2 adult sons. What did they do wrong?
Mehdi, what I stand by is a vote. First of all, we have votes in Congress that we know will not end up going anywhere. We have votes that we know will probably be signed into law. They have very different consequences.
So you voted for this one because you don't think it'll be signed into law?
Well, first, no, I voted for this as a message because I do think it's a principle.
Hold on. A message to ICC Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan's two sons. What did they do wrong?
Now, you know that's not what my intent was. And by the way, if you look
yes,
at
it is.
With
Yes,
respect,
it
Congressman, it doesn't matter what your intent is.
Then look,
it matters what you voted for. You voted for a very mafiosi bill, which says
bill. No,
you don't think going after the children?
You know what's wrong with Mahdi? Nobody's going to come back again to his show because he asked you questions.
The prosecutor
they're not going after
Trump-like,
Matty, they're not going after the
What does it
children.
mean to put sanctions on the children of the prosecutor?
My point is, but that's not a mafioso bill. By the way, if that is
Picking on the family members of someone?
Matty,
That's the kind of thing Donald Trump does, Congressman, not Dean Phillips.
You're an educated man. You know how the Congress works. You know how bills operate.
Just because I know how it works doesn't mean I agree with it,
saying,
Congressman.
But when a lot of what you agree, when the overwhelming portion of a bill you agree with, and you're forced with a yes or no, first of all, I don't vote present. I don't say I was there, I'm not taking a position. I say yes or no. And I think in this case, I registered my principle that the ICC did not conduct itself in a manner befitting of the court.
But you could have said that in a speech, in a statement, an article. You didn't need to vote for a bill which targets the family members of ICC
and
officials.
And I'll say it to you right now, they shouldn't be targeted, the family members.
Okay, but you voted for that.
Many, I vote for a lot of every single one you have on your show votes for things that we are forced
But the majority of your colleagues chose not to vote for that, even though they probably agree with you.
42 Democrats, as you said, voted for it.
Just on the issue of war crimes, which the ICC chief prosecutor is accusing Netanyahu of, and Hamas of, which the ICJ is investigating, which every major human rights group in the world is saying Israel is guilty of. How do you justify supporting the sheer devastation caused by Israel in Gaza over the past 8 months? Unprecedented, apocalyptic destruction. I just want you to have a look at the screen. We're just going to put some up here.